Jonathan back, Stringer Than Fiction. I have another review video for you today, and this time, maybe it's a little different. A very mainstream book, Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I actually didn't read this copy. I've had this hardcover copy for a while. Obviously, the book has had a lot of hype. A lot of people talk about it. A lot of people love it. I'm sometimes on the books that are too popular and mainstream, not in a hipster way. It's just a lot of times they tend to be written for the lowest common denominator, to be more mass appeal. And a lot of times I find when stuff is mass appeal, people who are really into certain niches and what have you are left wanting. So the way I read or really listened to this book is audiobook. I have a long commute to work. Probably mentioned this in a few videos before, where hour and a half helps my drive go by listening to a book. I tend to find tougher material, more, harder to read. Some of the science fiction that's a little more complex doesn't do as well for me in audiobook form. I know some people can't do audiobooks at all. It's hard for them to retain. It took a little bit for getting used to it first. But I've been listening to audiobooks for years now, and it makes my drive so much better. It's kind of like just like listen to a story, a movie without the visuals, obviously. It makes the drives go by better. So I've had it for a little while. It was free on Audible if you had an account. But then I saw an alert saying, hey, this and the sequel, your free trial, it's going to go away in a few weeks or something. This was 3-4 weeks ago. And I had an out-of-town trip coming up, so I said, hey, it'd be great to listen to this on the flight. So might as well knock it out while I have it for free. So let's talk about the book. I haven't read or watched other reviews on this. So if I'm sure there's a bunch. So if I sound somewhat similar, it's by coincidence. Maybe it, whatever. But I have not read other reviews about it. I've known a little bit about it, but not much. And it's a story of, well, you're in the society. It's way in the future. I don't know exactly when. And basically the entire solar system has been colonized or settled and terraformed, what have you. And the people are divided up into different castes, and they're by color. And they're ruled by the golds, and then the bred for war guys are obsidian or the black, and then the reds are the miners, basically slaves. So it's a caste system, but it's based more like slavery caste system for the most part, all ruled by the golds, who are from the moon colonizers who conquered Earth, etc. So, but the book starts out, you're just following this guy, Darrow, or kid. He's like 15, 16, somewhere around there. He's a miner, and he's a hell diver, and they keep calling him. So, he's I guess has the most dangerous but the highest kind of highest regarded job among the Reds is to be this hell diver, and they don't really live very long. So you get super awesome reactions and works with his hands, etc. So Darrow's in there, and then coming up to be a little spoilerish. So if you want to skip ahead or not watch, if you haven't read the book, but stuff happens to his family, causes him to almost die, but he doesn't. And then of course, what do? They make him a gold. Well, let's say, of course, they carve it with a carver. One of the other colors who, more artistic, they kind of built him into this much larger person. That's a gold and muscular, looks different, blonde hair, super fast, super strong, and of course, Darrow's super smart, and he just learns everything, gets trained up, and then has to go into this kind of initiation rite for gold children, teens, kind of like an adulthood rite, where they go through this competition session where they get drafted and stuck into different groups and basically following different Roman or Greek gods. Everything's named for the gods, Roman mythology, and the goal is kind of mimic a lot of ancient Rome type civilization and other things like that. So they have these wars, and they're each in a castle. Of course, Darrow becomes the leader of his, and they all fight each other, and a lot more death happens than they expect. So it's really almost like a fight to the death with no real rules. Overwatched by their proctor, they call him. It's basically the representative for each of the god houses. Like Darrow's in Mars, of course. He's from Mars. He's red. And, Minerva and Pluto, all that good stuff. So, or Hades. I can't remember which one they use. Anyway, that's kind of the story. And to be honest, the first book, it is. I have heard that it was kind of more YA-ish. I see that. It definitely is. It's YA-ish and the way it's written and the story, but some of the graphical things and other events that happen elevate it a little higher than what I'd say YA-ish. It's a little too more mature in that regard. So it's kind of like a YA, a Song of Ice and Fire, but I guess the it's not that gratuitous in some parts. But that's kind of the way I put it. Really, I know people may hate the comparisons, but it's a lot like Hunger Games. Now, I have not read Hunger Games, but I've watched the first 2 movies to get enough to know what it's kind of about. So it's got that traditional YA battle royale almost with the different factions and bring your friends up and betrayals and fight to the end and someone comes out victorious. That being said, he does throw a few wrinkles in along the way, which I appreciate. It's not, it is a tried and true formula, but it's not completely derivative. So I do want to give that kind of credit, but it is very much a Hunger Games mixed with like Ender's Game. I could call it Darrow's Game or something like that. I think the second book is a little more Ender's Game-ish. The first book's definitely more Hunger Games-ish. I'll review the second book. I just finished reading that or listening to that a few days ago. So, what now? That's kind of the premise. What do I like and don't like about it? I think the whole color cast system is why. I don't think the color stuff is needed. It's just you could do it without. Oh, it's got to be this red color. I guess it helps identify and organize it to a degree, but it's just like that just wouldn't happen that way. They wouldn't divide people up in these little colors that matches what their skill set and what their function in society is, and that part I didn't really care for. I don't really like the main character that much, Darrow. So, and they kind of made him the whatever, I know there's a term, whatever the male version of a Mary Sue is. I don't remember what that is. But he's kind of like that. He's the best at everything. He's the smartest, he's the strongest, and he's the fastest. And not always, and he's not the biggest, but Darrow, he's every man's man. And it's a little too on the nose sometimes with he's the Reaper and his symbol is a sickle. And so you're kind of getting like he's this the USSR's dream boy from the whatever, and he's going to go save and change society and revolt and all that. So that's kind of that gets a little groan inducing and eye rolling when I hear some of that, read some of that. I'll just keep saying. And so that aspect of it, I was like, ugh, come on, right? That being said, some of the, it's not the best writing. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's just, here's what's happening. There's a little too much. This happens, and Darrow with his angst and in his head, and for this and my this and that. And granted that you want to hear some of the thoughts of the main character, but it's like, okay, this thing happens. Here's what Darrow's thinking all the time. Here's what's, and then Darrow feels sorry for himself, and he feels this, and he feels that, and it's just like, come on. So those are more the negatives. That being said, I did enjoy it overall, and I didn't love it, but it's got that kind of, brain candy, if you like that term that of, hey, stuff's happening, going on, what's going to happen next, kind of like watching a TV show, or like a summer movie. It's not the best, it's not great, but it's fun, it's enjoyable, right? So that's kind of how I take this book. It's a decent start. It sets it up. It's for what it is. It is derivative. It is. I've read or seen this kind of stuff before, but there's a reason why these kind of coming of age and um, Hunger Games esque kind of situations get so popular, is because it appeals and it's fun to a lot of people. So this is why they keep making it. The what is that? Divergent's kind of like that too, in a way. I haven't read that. I did watch the first movie. I didn't really care for that movie series very much. I didn't really like Hunger Games that much. It was okay. So if you like that kind of stuff, you'll definitely love this. If you don't like those, hit or miss. Some of the other characters are cool. Some of the stuff is cool. Some of the science is interesting with the weapons and the things they do, but some other things just don't make sense. It's like they're there to be these interesting plot devices, but if you really think about it, it really wouldn't probably happen that way. I know I'm maybe being, oh yeah, of course it's like a science fantasy type book, and it kind of is. It reads more like a fantasy, but set in this space. So it's kind of, I call it science fantasy. The science fiction part of it is there's a lot of it. So some of the tech. There's a cyberpunkish elements to it, but it's more of the cyber and less of the punk, with some of the body augments. Hey, you lose a hand or an arm, just get a new arm, a bionic arm, or a bionic eye, things like that. But it doesn't have that cyberpunk atmosphere, which is a big part of what what makes that. So it definitely is more of like a fantasy written book set in the science fiction world and setting. And has the pacing of kind of like a fun TV show or movie. I think I'm surprised it hasn't been made into one, or maybe they think, hey, people just say it's Hunger Games again. Fair enough, but so if you want something that's a fun romp, I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads. I've probably had the fun enjoyment factor is maybe a little bit better than a 3, but giving it a more of a somewhat objective, how good is this? That's when I kind of lower it a little bit, like how well done it is. I roll my eyes too often at it to give it a higher score than that. It is grating sometimes, but also, okay, what's going to happen next? So it's got that kind of element to it. So if you like that stuff, it's perfect for me to listen to it on these kind of stories on audiobook. I've definitely listened to worse and was still entertained. So I guess it all depends on, why are you reading? Are you reading for entertainment, escapism, just to have fun? Are you trying to read like more maybe science fiction with ideas and get your mind thinking and different perspectives and philosophies on the world? This one's very much we're the downtrodden slave reds and we're gonna take over these evil golds, and they're just so evil, but yet now that I am one, I'm meeting some that aren't so bad, so maybe they can be changed. And it's like whatever. So I get it, they got to make some kind of reasons or drive, obviously, for the main character in the story. But the way it could have been done a little more sophisticated or better, or not hitting you over the head with it over and over again. But again, so if that sounds interesting, well, even here it says, I didn't even notice this till now. On the book, it even says Ender, Katniss, and now Darrow. So that is, because I haven't pulled this book. I just pulled the book off the shelf for the first time since I put it on there, or when I redid my library room in here, and I did not even notice that. And yeah, Darrow's Game is what this one should be called, really. So coming up next, I'll be reviewing the sequel, Spoiler preview on that. I like the second book a little better than this one. I think it's a better overall book, but I'll get into more details there. And I did get another book haul off Facebook Marketplace over the fourth holiday weekend break. Nothing like super awesome banger book or anything, but a nice solid pickup for the price. Some good books in there. I kept a few. Most will be for sale, but I'll show that up here soon as well. Have the review for the sequel. I'm listening to book 3 now. Started it today. So I'll just go ahead and finish the series out, I think, unless something happens to just make me hate it after that. But it's entertaining enough to keep going. Now that I've been a couple books in, okay, let's see this thing to the end. Or I don't even know if he's finished writing the series yet. I know he just released, book 6 or 7 earlier this year or late last year, I'm pretty sure. So, and then I'm almost done with The Best of Malmsberg. It's been a slower grind. It's short stories and it takes me a little longer on those. And then I'm still thinking of doing the Black Company series overview. So I have a lot of content already kind of planned out for the next few weeks. Hope to keep the reading going, keep the views and the comments up. Appreciate you, everyone watching, and all the subs I've had. So thanks so much, and get you on the next video here in a few days, I think.